Good morning, everybody. This is Victoria, your dog guru, and today our episode is called He'll Grow Out of It and Other Lies People Will Tell You. I think it's somewhat of a natural assumption to make that given a little time, age, maturity, that your dog is going to grow out of the things that drive you nuts, like peeing all over the place. But I used to tell my clients that you can have a 10-year-old, 2-year-old. A dog that has social issues and is fearful as a puppy can end up being a 10-year-old dog with the very same issues because they haven't been addressed. They haven't been redirected. Biologically, yes, your dog is going to change quite a bit between puppyhood and adulthood, but that doesn't actually have much to do with their emotional status and their behavioral patterns. That all comes back to training. Or lack of training. If it isn't there, the dog isn't going to respond in a way that the owner is going to really want to live with long term. Another one I heard about a lot was a dog chewing on things, be it the couch, shoes, whatever he could get his mouth on at the time. I worked with a Rottweiler that as a puppy, they described him as really fearful, and pretty much anything that he was exposed to would freak him out. And around the time he was 12 months old, that behavior pattern shifted from fear to defensive behavior. And while guarding instinct is really to be expected in that particular breed, this wasn't guarding instinct. This was pure reactivity. So I definitely don't want people to walk around thinking, okay, well, he's doing it now, but given a few months, he's going to grow out of it. In a lot of cases, that's not the case. If you feel like things are kind of spinning out of control and you're really not sure how to address it, I always recommend hiring a professional trainer who can really guide you and figure out what's going on, ask the questions that you might not even be thinking about, and then give you a treatment plan that'll really fit your dog, your home, your routine, and your needs. When it comes to potty training, the earlier you start or the sooner you start, the better. This is something that while a lot of dogs get the hang of it, the only reason they're getting the hang of it is because it's being consistently practiced. So that's how the dog really reaches a point where the owner feels like they can leave the home and trust the dog. Another lie you're going to hear as a dog owner, if you haven't already, is, my dog is so friendly though. Never trust a stranger's opinion on their dog because, first of all, they're going to have a bias, and secondly, you don't know if their dog is only friendly to dogs their own size. Maybe they're small dog aggressive and they're not aware of it because at home they have another dog and it's the same size as them and there's never an issue. For dogs and owners alike, context is everything. So what may never be an issue that they ever experience at home is something that you could run into almost immediately. Maybe they don't know their dog is dominant because with the dog it lives with, it's not. It's already established the roles within the home. But then you take them outside and you're introducing them to another dog on the street, now you've got a whole different environment, which really often triggers things that you've never seen before. And some dogs are quicker to respond to a new stimuli than others. Some can be tolerant for a little while, and then others, as soon as they're put in a situation that's unfamiliar or uncomfortable for them, they react. And that's when you get the growling, the snapping, the dominant behaviors, sometimes a dog fight, all of which could have been headed off by not doing it in the first place. Sometimes when I would ask clients if their dogs had been socialized, they'd point to the other dog in their house and say, oh yeah, he gets along fine with this one. That's not really socialization. Socialization is exposure to other dogs in foreign environments. It's also exposure to children, adults, different sounds, fresh experiences, and all of these will really mark memories within the dog. We've all been to PetSmart. I guarantee you've passed by an aisle where two dogs were meeting, and then a couple seconds later after you pass by the aisle, you hear the which actually brings me to another layer of this problem. A bad experience can be marked far longer and deeper within a dog than a positive one. So say he got along with every other dog in the store that day, the thing he's going to really remember is the one he didn't get along with. I always recommend doing a socialization class in a safe environment once your dog has received its first set of vaccinations. And I don't mean shot 1 and shot 2, I mean the entire series of their puppy shots. Which, by the way, doesn't mean your dog has no possibility of getting ill, but it does definitely substantially reduce your risk. So what do you do if your dog is fearful, or they're pottying in your house, or they're chewing on your favorite shoes My answer to that is actually management. Start installing a dependable routine, a training pattern, a whole process that the more you work at it, the more improvements you see in their personality or in their behavior. If you have a dog that's antisocial, you might want to have a listen to our podcast called My Dog is Antisocial and I'm Becoming the Neighborhood Pariah. I have a few tips in there of what to do, how to identify triggers, and how to start neutralizing the things that your dog reacts to. So it's definitely worth a listen if you need some guidance there. We also have an episode, our first episode, that addresses potty training, so definitely check that out. It's called Hello from the Dog Guru. So if potty training is where you need to gain some ground and get some traction, there's lots of great tips in there on how to get started. Coming up this week, we're actually going to be discussing how to pick a trainer, what to look for. We're also going to do a breed profile, which we'll do periodically. We'll pick a breed, talk about the breed, and we're going to have you guys weigh in on what life with that breed is really like. If you haven't already, go ahead and click subscribe so you can get the latest and greatest on our podcast episodes. And then if you haven't been there already, go to facebook.com/doggurupodcast. That's where you can send us messages directly or comment on our feeds and tell us what you're thinking. Really quickly, I just want to thank everybody who's written into the show thus far. Your questions, your comments, your input are so deeply valued, so I appreciate your time and your individual contributions to this show. Thanks for listening, and this has been your dog guru, Victoria. Have a good day, everybody.